Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are, everybody. This is LSP here for another day of trading. So this is the end of the week review, and the last couple of days, as you can see, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday has been a positive one. Overall, $231.12 on the 3 days, up $56.33 on Wednesday, $117.80, which is my biggest profit on the day so far, and $56.99 on Friday. So it was just a Tuesday that was almost a $700 loss, and definitely lessons learnt on that one. Few lessons on the last couple of days coming up, especially on the Wednesday and the Thursday, and how I applied that on the Friday. So let's get into it. So there was a few occasions over the last couple of days where I found myself wanting to get out of a position, but also wanting to stay in a position. There was a trade where I was on Wednesday already $70 to $80 up, and I felt like the indicator was telling me to stay in, but I really wanted to lock in some profits. So at the time, of course, I just held. So I went all the way from $80 up, and then at one point I was also down 8%, which is about $120 as well. So there was a big fluctuation in those couple of minutes that I was looking at this trade, where I was very, very high. I was like, oh yes, I am in, but then also, oh no, I'm nearly down there to my stop loss at 10%, and I was nearly out to a big loss then as well on that day. What I should have done really is what I'm showing you on the screen now, is when I was $70 up, that is actually where I was like, I want to get out now, I want to get out. But I didn't want to get out of the whole position, because for me, all the indicators were telling me, right, the MACD is just inverted into a positive swing, and the volume was also high, above 1 million, what I wanted. And it was just hitting higher lows, but also it was just about to test the pre-market highs as well. So I really want to stay in to see if that pushed up, and then just sell if I did not, and lock in. What I really should have done is actually, I'm going to rearrange some of my hotkeys for the start of next week to sell half my position. That's what I'm looking at now, is I want to lock in some profits and just see how it goes with the rest of it, and sell out if I didn't need to. But what I ended up doing was obviously just holding on, and just waiting, obviously just literally gambling now to see if it went up. Lucky enough it did for me, so I was able to lock in those profits as well. So this was happened both on the Wednesday and the Thursday. So what happened here is I really should have, when I wanted to, and I was already some values up, is to sell half of my positions and hold the rest. And then when the bigger push came on, which it so happened it did on both, on Thursday especially, is sell the rest of it where I did originally, or where I wanted to, and when the indicators told me to. So that's what I will be looking at on Monday's trades as well, is looking at splitting it and resetting my hotkeys so I can sell half the position rather than the full position, and then when I want to later on, sell the full rest of the position as well. So this is Friday's trade now, and as you can see, I got in this position, and when I got out of the position, so this is the lesson I learned from the Wednesday and the Thursday, and I will keep this on, but I'll speed it up on the screen, because I held and held just like I did on the Wednesday and the Thursday. But the big difference is I already sold half of the position when I was up 7 cents a share. So I already locked in $50 of profit before it even moved on, and that was in the first couple of minutes. I think it was even less than a minute. So after that though, I just held on maybe for like 10-15 minutes just to see if it would kind of pump. But there's a few areas where I was a bit down again, but I wasn't down completely, although the share position that I was in, I was down 10%. I wasn't down 10% on my overall account value. So I was only down, a couple of dollars, $10, $20 here and there. So that was 1%. That was because I locked in my profit earlier on, and I locked in half of the position. And I think with a bit more play around with that, I'll be able to do that a little bit better, just because once I did get into it, I actually just ended up selling just before it actually spiked, which was what I was actually waiting for. So I just needed to hold on a little bit longer and kind of get in, sell half of the position, and then actually commit to it. I think it was just because I was a little bit bored of waiting, because I was waiting for 10, 15, 20 minutes, I think it was. But I'll speed it up on the screen. But that was definitely a big game changer, something that was actually put in practice. This was only learnt from Wednesdays and Thursdays trades, and applying this on Friday was big difference. So that was definitely good. And hopefully I'll be able to do a little bit more and regain some of those losses that I got on Tuesday next week from Monday. And we will see how we would do then. So thank you very much. I will see you next week.